Hey, often on this channel, we've looked at some of Scooby-Doo's scariest villains, from the one that gave me nightmares to the ones that gave them to you. One that comes up in this discussion might be surprising though, because it's just a bedsheet ghost. That's all, the classic children's Halloween costume at best. But with how often this classic early episode was reused on various home video compilations, everyone's sure to have seen it enough times to at least remember it, for better or worse. Originally airing September 27th, 1969, today we're looking at the Phantom from Scooby-Doo Where Are You? Season 1, Episode 3, Hassle in the Castle. Even with this episode airing third, it was actually the second episode of the entire franchise to ever be produced. It's also the first to use the standard title card sequence. Even regardless of seeing this one countless times, anyone that's seen the show will recognize a large amount of visuals from it alone, because it has such iconic imagery that much of it is used in the actual opening credits theme. It's also the first episode to have no suspect, and no mystery machine, and a lot of things really. It's kind of ridiculous how many different sets this episode has been on when it comes to home video. Just to name a few, you had Scooby-Doo's Greatest Mysteries and Scooby-Doo's Creepiest Capers in 1999, Scooby-Doo's Original Mysteries in 2000, Scooby-Doo and the Pirates in 2011, and even Scooby-Doo Favorite Frights in 2015. I know I had several of these, and I'm sure a lot of you did or still do as well if you're watching this. So what is it that's so interesting about this one? Let's actually take a look.
Fans from across the country handpicked the 4 most popular Scooby episodes that make up the all-new video Scooby-Doo's Greatest Mysteries plus Hassle in the Castle.
We caught the Phantom, thanks to Scooby-Doo!
You get all 4 of these never-before-released episodes on one great video.
I'll pay!
Remember, Scooby-Doo's Greatest Mysteries is now on video. Own it on video today.
Like, wow!
We open up not only with the iconic music score by Ted Nichols that really sets the scene, but we get that castle right out of the gate here, showing that it's on a small island truly isolated out here. Likewise, we make sure we see our Phantom just as quickly, staring out with a telescope. Why does a ghost need a telescope? Exactly. And what does he see? Obviously, our mystery-solving friends headed right this way. Although it didn't start as foggy and spooky when they started their boating trip.
It's very simple. When the barometric pressure dropped and the warm offshore air came in contact with an inland cold front, we ran into some unnavigable nubulation.
You're right, Velma. Whatever you said.
I said, we're lost in a fog.
Shaggy wakes up and decides to make a super Shaggy sandwich, and these were weirdly some of my favorite scenes as a kid. Watching him make food like this would make me really hungry in turn and wish I could try some of it. I guess the same goes for Scooby though.
Well, at least you left me the olive.
They run aground, now stuck on this island that Velma seems to immediately recognize as Haunted Isle, home of Vasquez Castle. As they head that way, Scooby messes with this crab under some paper, runs back in fear, and covers the gang in a bunch of sand. He offers what he found, which seems to actually be a torn piece of map, and when Scooby reads the back, he realizes it says, "Danger, leave Haunted Isle." Unfortunately, of course, this means some of us here are more interested than ever in seeing what someone is trying to keep them away from in the old pirate castle, and that someone in a bedsheet seems to be trailing them already. Reaching the castle, it seems deserted, a picture of Vasquez the pirate still hanging. We find that he sailed the seas in 1612 and used this as a hideout back then, so that's our justification for this being included on the Pirates Focus DVD. Old Spooky is still following, mind you. As Velma remembers hearing places like this used to be full of traps.
Oh, Velma, don't be silly. That only happens in movies.
And so we lost danger-prone Daphne in one of her first danger-prone incidents. If there's one thing Scooby's voice actor Don Messick will do, it's a scary laugh, that's what. While the gang search for Daph, we see Velma actually rattled for once by all this, and Daphne meanwhile falls down a chute and looks for her own way out.
That way.
And right there we have one of our iconic moments from the credit sequence in its origin scene. Really well executed horror visuals here for a younger audience. Immediately we already see another icon while the others continue their search, the boys getting lost and finding it themselves.
They went that away.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's all right.
That visual is already pretty iconic, but the moment is even more memorable just with the voice and interaction that they have. The ghostly ham sandwich appearing, the mustard joining, and the suit of armor cutting the sandwich in half is another memorable moment that weirdly made me hungry as a kid. I don't even like mustard, but something about this made it look appetizing. Obviously, Shaggy still takes the sandwich. Daff is waiting in action as she hears footsteps and bangs the hell out of Shaggy, which I love, just in time for the others to show up as well, reuniting everyone finally. Then they hear that freaky laugh again.
I warn you, leave Haunted Isle and never return. The Phantom has spoken.
The guys run after him, but they end up jumping right through him, completely transparent, as a ghost is expected to be.
There's a very logical explanation for all this.
Quick, tell me.
The place is haunted.
Fred points out that they need to stand their ground, figure out why he wants them gone, and they also happen to be marooned anyway. Daphne then finds an absolutely massive key, which says Second Passage of the Old Bell on it. They deduce passage must be a passage from a book, and that the old bell must be that book. Deciding to check the library, it seems someone is checking them out. Successfully finding the old bell, they find the word catacombs is underlined, which Velma believes they will find in the basement. We'll be right back.
The ghosts, the witches, and the mysteries are back. And so is the world's greatest and hungriest gang that solves them. Now collect all of these awesome Scooby-Doo adventures on DVD and snack on the first 5 Scooby-Doo episodes ever, including the series pilot in Scooby-Doo's original mystery.
This is Spooksville.
Spooksville. Join the gang as they unravel the creepiest cases ever in Scooby-Doo's creepiest capers. Scooby-Doo. Collect them all on DVD from Warner Brothers Family Entertainment.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo!
The gang find the door they need and insert the gigantic key in the hole, unlocking yet another spooky room full of spooky things. And because Fred has no heart, he tries to send Scooby in alone. 3 Scooby snacks in his tummy motivate him to look around, finding a magic hat, but nothing dangerous, so he alerts the others to join him. Inside, they find even more things related to magic acts. A saw and box, disappearing cabinets, levitating cables, and so much more. Definitely not things left by the pirate. Velma putting things together, they hear a thumping, running to hide in the closet, where I know many of them love to be. But in here, not only do we hear the laugh again, but another iconic visual of the opening credits.
I warned you to leave the island. Now you will pay.
I'll pay. How about 4 bits?
They literally run the door down, hiding in some of the magic equipment, Shaggy ending up in the box that's actively sawing him in half. It seems like he's a goner as his bottom half walks away, until Velma finds his head is just a dummy head. And I would like to know how the ghost was able to make a dummy head of him so quickly. That's my new main mystery here. Obviously he's fine. Daphne, Fred, and Scooby are being chased by the ghost meanwhile, these two finding a magic carpet which they try to board and fly away on, leaving Scooby behind, which is their ruin as he grabs on and crashes them. I always thought this part was so funny as well, where he runs in with the carpet on him and they keep mistaking him for the ghost and close the door on him. Actually seeing the ghost again isn't as funny, causing Scooby to break the door down, understandably. That's twice this episode. They finally lose him, deciding it's time to capture him, and Fred has an idea about how. He puts together all of these things for the perfect trap, which Velma agrees will work if they can just get him back over here now. Once again, heartless Fred tasks Scooby with that job, so the good boy fakes illness as reliably as he can. They force him anyway, dressing him up as a people instead of a dog to get attention. Fred encouraging him to be like Rin Din Din, a reference to Rin Tin Tin, does nothing, but somehow John Wayne works. Definitely not someone who would get me excited, for many reasons now. He locks in though, searching for the Phantom and just hooting and hollering. He lifts up a literal photo of the Phantom and finds the Phantom underneath, who then teleports. So Scooby locks into his John Wayne pose. Even the ghost is joining in, so Scooby starts making a bunch of stupid faces to egg him on. At least it works, the old spook chasing him around for a good long while, but Scooby ends up tripping instead of the ghost, falling right into the trap as they catch a dog instead of a phantom. problem. The ghost is a little too overconfident though, because Scooby falls right on top of him, revealing just some guy. A cop has since arrived who spotted their boat when the fog lifted, now wondering who this guy in the bedsheet is. They unmask him, and I instantly get PTSD from all those memes about Scooby-Doo teaching us who the real villain is, or whatever. The cop instantly recognizes him as Bluestone the Great, ex-magician wanted in 6 states. As expected, he heard the legends of the treasure hidden in the castle by the old pirate and was using his magic tricks to keep people away from the island so he could find it. They show examples of how the tricks he used on them work, like the floating trick with wires, but they're not sure how he could go through solid walls. I loved this part as a kid. He shows this mirror illusion with a projector.
I could cast my image anywhere I wanted. And by stepping away from the mirror, it appears that I walk through walls.
It's basically the Pepper's ghost effect, which people now might know best for how Disney's Haunted Mansion attraction makes those ghosts seem transparent just like this. It really is a classic magician trick. While Shaggy wonders if there really was a treasure, Scooby digs something up, except instead of the treasure, he finds this little freak. So for once, we have to be left wondering if it really is lost in this castle somewhere, rather than tying that part up with a bow. And that's the Phantom from Hassle in the Castle. I suppose I can see all sides from where people might land on this one. There are definitely some who have grown a distaste for this episode just because it's been so overplayed, probably especially with it being one of the very first episodes. Although they set up the idea that it's probably a magician with all the gear he's got, it's also one of those episodes where we don't actually meet a suspect. For those who still give this one a chance though, I think it's got some good atmosphere. Right from the jump, the music score really sets the tone, and being marooned on a creepy island where they can't even leave if they really wanted to gives the episode a much more claustrophobic feeling. Of course, the ghost design itself isn't the most inspired, given that it's literally a bedsheet, but at least for me, that really didn't deter me from this episode or the Phantom as a kid. I think what I've seen really cement him as scary for so many people that have requested him is that genuinely creepy laugh, as provided by Don Messick. Basically the same thing that you have with Spooky Space Kook, where he also provided an iconic laugh, though paired with a much more scary and iconic design. I think the two laughs are distinguishable enough though that they do stand out, even if it's obvious they both are him if you're actually listening for it. Which, as a kid, I definitely wasn't. Actually, as a kid, his performance as Bluestone at the end of the episode was even creepier to me. Hearing him speak technically in a more normal fashion, but just how he delivered the lines and something about his design gave me the creeps. He's definitely one of those villains where I still find him intimidating even without the mask on. There's so many iconic visuals to feast on in this episode as well, even without him. The design of the whole castle firstly is perfect for the atmosphere. There's just something about this skull that really nails it. I don't actually know who voiced those couple of lines, they aren't credited, but whoever it is, it really hits between scary and funny in that perfect in-between place. It's no wonder this is one of the earliest episodes to show everybody having a moment of fear instead of just the boys. It's also notable that this is the first time Fred comes up with a dynamic trap like this, changing history forever, and he really does go all out with it. The parodies of how overdone he tends to make them done in modern Scooby are really not that different from how outrageous this trap is. I do think this episode has a good balance of scary and comedic aspects though, like Scooby in the carpet or the haunted sandwich, Shaggy being sawed in half, and all of these other moments. Maybe it's just because I'm me, but I really don't think I could ever get tired of this episode. It certainly isn't one of the strongest. You can tell that this is literally the second episode they ever made, and that the show and characters are still figuring themselves out. There are kinks to be worked through in a lot of places, but even so, you can already see it's falling into place and that magic has already taken effect. No pun intended. So, Hassle in the Castle, They Could Never Make Me Hate You, and bedsheet or not, I can still see why this one is up there with some of the scariest for people who saw it at the right time. With all that being said, if this particular episode doesn't do it for you, there are plenty of other villains that might hit the spot, which are covered on this channel already. I even have a playlist dedicated to the absolute scariest villains, which you can find on my channel or at the end of this video. I hope you still had fun going back to the earliest days possible for Scooby though. Just be careful if you're ever on a boat in some fog and happen to be close to a haunted isle. Bye!
That only happened tonight.